Second Sutta, Welama Sutta, Engl.Text 9, Part 2. This Sutta is commented by Ven.Pallegama Samita Maha Thero, great expert in Pali and Dhamma. The text was read by his disciple, Marma Chandadoti Thero. Appamadena bhikkhave sampadeta. Monks, do not delay. Why? Dullabho buddhappado lokasmin. The Buddha rarely appears in the world. Dullabho manusatta patilabho. It is almost impossible to get a human birth. It is next to impossible. Dullabha khana sampatti. The presence of conditions for listening to the Dhamma. Fullness of bodily sensations, the right to conscience is rare. What does this mean? Fullness of bodily sensations means complete body without any defect of the senses, mainly the senses. If the senses are not working, ear, nose, eyes, the tongue, the tasting faculty, the bodily, the sensation, all the five sensations, and the mind. If all these organs are not working well, you cannot understand Dhamma. You can listen to Dhamma. You cannot hear the Dhamma. And the other thing is, if you have all the senses correct, if you are living in not a right place, where Dhamma is not allowed, for example, in some religions, they don't allow to listen to some other point of view. So they are wrong. They have wrong views, but there is no liberty to listen to a right view. There are many religions. All the religions are like that. So this is if you have the right liberty, freedom to listen, not everywhere it is available. So during the Buddha's time, it is free, but still, because there was some segregation, some sections of the people, they didn't have right to listen. The women were not allowed to study education, like that. Dullabha pabbajja, monasticism, leaving worldly pleasures to become Buddhist monk, is almost unseen. So living as a Buddhist monk is not allowed in some countries. Even in the modern society, so-called civilized world, Buddhist principles are not taken as scientific and very healthy principles. For example, celibacy, living without any sex, it is against Buddhists, against their modern science, healthy life, and not eating in the evening after 12 o'clock is totally against healthy life according to science. Dullabhang saddhamma savanang. It is extremely rare to hear the truth. You can't hear the truth. Even the normal truth you cannot hear. Not to say about the supreme truth, ultimate truth. Dullabho sappurisa sansevo. It is very, very rare you can have communication with the noble people. The sappurisa is the noble, those who have the purified mind. This sutta is mentioned in the Engl.Text 9th Nipata. We call this sutta Welama. This is Welama Sutta Part 2. In the Part 1, we gave a description the history of this and the reason to give this Dhamma discourse by the Buddha, because once it happened so, Anathapindika became suddenly very poor. He lost all his wealth in one day because of one goddess who was not too happy that he was giving dana. Then he started collecting some grasses and selling them and giving a dana, a very poor dana. And he told that about that to Buddha. Buddha said dana's quality, dana's merits depends on the how much is expensive this dana. It depends on how much intention you have for this dana. On that occasion, Buddha gave a story which happened long time ago. There was a Brahmana called Welama. That Brahmin thought, I have a lot of wealth, I should donate alms. But there was no Buddhism at that time. So whom these donations be given to? Just to the ordinary mundane people in the village. How did they give these dana donations away? He gave gold those who came asking for gold. He gave silver to those who came asking for silver. He offered 84,000 golden balls full of silver and 84,000 silver balls full of gold. Not only that, 84,000 alloys were full of pearls and gems, also 84,000. Not only that, he donated 84,000 elephants decorated with golden chains and ornaments. Also 84,000 decorated horses, 84,000 decorated chariots, carpeted and cushioned. Not only that, but various clothes. He donated full set of clothes required for a man and woman. He donated 840 billion such sets of clothes. Should I say how much food and drinks he donated? No. Even though this much was given as alms, as food or whatever it is, Brahmin Welama was not satisfied of the amount given as donation. So thinking so, the Brahmin decided to give away all the possessions, whatever in his house, telling the people to take whatever they like. So Buddha said, Situ Tumani, he addressed the Situ, you may think that the Brahmin Welama was someone else. Don't think so. This Brahmin Welama was same me at that time as a bodhisattva. But if this Brahmin were to offer a single meal to a monk who achieved Sotapanna path of fruition, Magga or Phala, it would be worth more than all the offerings he has ever made so far, Buddha said. A donation, alms giving to one Sakradagami who has only one birth is more fruitful and more beneficial than a donation to 100 monks who achieved so on up to 7 births. A donation, alms giving to one Anagami who is non-return is more fruitful and more beneficial than a donation to 100 monks or nuns achieved Sakradagami, once returner. A donation, alms giving to one Arahant fully liberated from birth is more fruitful and more beneficial than a donation to 100 monks, nuns achieved Anagami or non-returner stages. Donations, alms giving to one Pacheka Buddha who is fully self-liberated from birth is more fruitful and more beneficial than a donation to 100 monks or nuns achieved Arahant status who is fully liberated from birth. A donation, alms giving to one Samma Sambuddha, fully self-liberated from birth, who can teach millions and millions of beings the path to liberation, is more fruitful and more beneficial than a donation to 100 Pacheka Buddha, fully self-liberated from birth. There is donation even more beneficial and more fruitful than a donation to a Samma Sambuddha, which is the highest punya karma one can achieve in a private donation. That is the donation to the community of monks and nuns, Sangha. Such a donation we do normally today in our houses called Sangika Dana. Buddha Pamukassa Bhikkhu Sanghassa is a donation made to the Buddha of the world, the Arahants and other noble practitioners, more valuable than a personal donation to the Buddha. The Buddha also taught in the sutra that there is an even more valuable donation. What is this donation? The Buddha preached that if a room or some shelter, in Pali it is kuti, were offered to the great Sangha, noble Sangha, who come from all 4 directions, it would be more valuable than offering the alms to the great Sangha. From here on out, you need to listen very carefully. Now, Buddha says that this offer is more valuable. This offer means the kuti offer is more valuable than the donation of food, clothes, etc. given to the Sangha led by the Buddha. Whatever vihara or temples have been built and offered in this world, they all belong to the Arya, that means noble Maha Sangha led by the Buddha. In other words, from the path of Soan, the first stage of Nibbana, to the fruition of Arahant stages. These buildings belong to the entire noble Sangha. The word Sangha means all, word Sangika means all offered things belong to those noble ones. There is no other hidden meaning of that. These vihara don't belong to anyone else, even though some think that these are their properties, with documentary proofs like deeds and so many things. But they are just stories only. If this temple is Sangika, then it is Sangika. That's full stop. If someone is living in these places, they need to have the determination that they should be at least come to the path of enlightenment, Sotapanna, first stage, or its fruition someday. If you are not determined to achieve such a level, you will pay for enjoying such Sangika properties, things that belong to nobles by going to places like hell. In the hells you have to pay without any qualifications, without right to be called a Sangha. For being in a place belonging to the Sangha, one has to pay that fee, suffering greatly, immense sufferings in such places. You can't just imagine. Once the merit is exhausted, a payment will have to be made for the use of property belong to the Sangha. Nobody says about this in Dhamma lectures. Therefore, we should think about this carefully. In an earlier sermon, we explained the 4 elements of Sotapatti. In that sermon, we explained who is the Sangha. Look at that. You watch it. Or you have to listen to it because it is not a video. Then all these vihara, temples and shrines are for the Maha Sangha, Ratna, noble followers who come from all 4 directions. Even if someone keeps the deeds thinking, someone has deeds, that oppu in single language, thinking that the temple belongs to him, they are not valid here. We need to be well aware of that. Anyone residing in such a place needs to be very careful. Once again, the teacher emphasized. In the 10th Dhamma, Dasadhamma Sutta, our teacher says, the Buddha tells every monk, Sabbrahmachari ki putto namanku bhavisamiti. That is, the Pali verse is like this. If asked at the moment of death, bhikkhu should be careful not to get lost without any answer. Voiceless. If a Sabbrahmachari monks who practice together ask, have you attained a kind of knowledge of the Alamarina? That is a special knowledge. That is, if one dies without attaining any kind of noble status, it is a shameful death. A death that will lower yourself. One has to just keep quiet. Mankubuto means keep quiet, silent. There are no words. It is not good to be speechless. The Buddha tells the monks to remember this carefully, constantly. The 10th Dhamma Sutta states that at least at the moment of death, if a wise celebrate or someone else of importance asks, now is the last moment, have you been liberated from the 4 hells? Every monk should think at all times whether he can die without a fear. Some say this Welama Sutta is not Buddha's words because this is very controversial. This is very important point about Sangha. Why a donation of accommodation to any one of the community of noble monks, Shravaka Sangha, Buddha's followers, is so important. It is more beneficial and valuable than all the merits Buddha says listed above before. In Sri Lanka, where all monasteries have legal owners, after British law came into force, a true follower cannot have a place. For example, if you do not support chanting, Buddha Puja or any Punya Karma as means to Nibbana, because Punya Karma also extends Sansara as well as Papa Karma. Until monasteries belong to noble Sangha, no matter who owns legally in documents, he or she will not be allowed to live in any of the local viharas. You will be punished as someone who distorts Buddha's words. Everywhere in all Buddhist countries of the world, Buddha says there is even more valuable and beneficial thing one can do. Let us listen to it later.